an interview with Maya of Kipepeo
Maya!
Agency. She is actually the director and the brains behind Kipepeo Agency. If you don't know about Kipepeo Agency, it is an artist management agency, and I feel like she is in the best position to give us more info on Kipepeo Agency and how she manages different Kenyan artists, because she does have a couple of Kenyan artists under her wing, and basically the creator market in Kenya. So I think we'll just start by asking you, hey girl, how are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm good. I'm happy to be here. It's really a pleasure, and I'm glad we could make it work.
Yeah, I'm also really glad that you could make it work. So I think we should just get into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
sure. So my name is Maya Reisenberg, and as Wangechi mentioned, I'm the director and founder of Kipepeo Agency. We're an artist management and booking agency that was founded in Kenya while I was stuck in lockdown in Watamu, the best place to be in lockdown in 2020. Yeah, so now we're about 2 years old, and we're currently managing 4 different Kenyan acts. That is Bakita, Groovy Joe, you just heard her song, Kuyu, and Udelele.
Oh yeah, so
it was started in 2020, right?
Yes.
So I would love to know the inspiration behind it and why Kipepeo?
So it started, like I said, by a very good chance and luck. I got stuck in Kenya in these COVID times when they shut the borders. They were doing county lockdowns, and we ended up getting locked down in Watamu.
Uh-huh.
So it was a time of just like everyone is like, what is going on in the world? What are we going to do? And me being I will say I can be a bit of a risk taker. I took it like the first few months to, take some time off and reflect, because I had been working with some artists in the past, with Sandra Nankoma. And then I decided, you know what? Actually, this is a time where we have more space and time to ourselves than usual. So it's the perfect time to be able to think of ideas and flush them out and not be distracted by, oh, I have to run for this show here, I have to go for this work here. Yeah. It was a good time to be able to sit and brainstorm and think of how to make this company. So the company started in September 2020, like I said, in Watamu. Yeah. And since then, we have been working with Kenyan as well as Ugandan artists. And Kipepeo, the story of Kipepeo, it has a few different meanings. Okay. One is Kipepeo are migratory. Kipepeo move all over the world. So that is one thing, like we know, like we want to export artists from East Africa and take them like to different places around the world. As well as butterflies go through a transformation. They're born a caterpillar, they go through a chrysalis process, and then they come out a butterfly. Yeah. So this is symbolic of, you see an artist who has very good talent and potential, but they just need that molding and team around them to support them so that they're able to grow into butterflies and be ready to fly over the world. So that is where it came from. And butterflies have been a bit of a symbol in my life. When I was a child, I used to find some dead monarch butterflies and keep them in glass. Wow. So they've just been a thing for a while. So it has a bit of a personal connection as well. But mostly the metaphor of the transformation and being ready to move around and coming into your own and being able to flourish, and people see you. Like maybe they didn't see you in the beginning when you're just a caterpillar, but when you've got to that stage of a butterfly, someone like really can see and appreciate the beauty you bring into the world.
Amazing.
Hey, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of when you started, I want to ask you a question about first. So, I'd like to know who was the first Kenyan artist you finally got under your agency?
The first Kenyan artist that agency was Akos Jumadi. We worked together for a year. Yes, so she was the first one who was in Kipepeo, closely followed by Bakita. Bakita joined about 2 months after. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask you, you started in 2020. Just like we were slowly easing out of lockdown at the time. So I want to ask you, what growth have you seen, especially in the creative industry, as far as musicians are concerned, in the Kenyan creative industry? Like, what growth would you say you have witnessed? Have we gone forward? Are we backtracking? Are we stagnant?
I think in the Kenyan industry, one thing I've seen a lot of people took advantage of doing online engagements in the lockdown, whether it was doing live streams, getting more into content creation. Like, we've really entered the era of changing from just putting things online for people to, see about my gigs and what, but more providing entertainment just for online purposes as well, like being able to do TikTok challenges, being able to do different like threads on Twitter. I've seen like a lot of people doing different Twitter spaces. There is one, I forget, it's something like a Kenyan Mbogi NFT club. People are really coming into learning about these new ways of creating, which can be really good because it's putting more power in the hands of the artists and the creators, trying to sell direct to your fans and engage with them directly, which we get a lot of power from the internet to be able to connect with the fans directly instead of having to either wait to go to a show or being able to connect to them through your record label or whatever it is. Being able to talk to them directly, I feel like has really benefited a lot of Kenyan artists and creatives.
Oh yeah. So I'd like to know. So you've probably had a conversation that has been kicking up quite a storm regarding the Kenyan creative industry. There's been so many people talking about how Kenyan music industry isn't really played outside of Kenya, how people don't really have recognition outside of Kenya. So
yes,
you have artists under your label. I'm talking like a person like Koyo. Koyo has performed various times at Bayimba, right?
Yes, actually, just were at Baimba 2 weeks ago. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Kuyo and Udele. Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to ask, what exactly, what are your thoughts on the fact, on this conversation? Do you feel like there's things that people need to do that they are not doing? Do you feel like the things people were doing that they stopped and should go back to?
I feel like this is a conversation that comes up a lot of the authentic Kenyan sound and kind of these different waves of, do we need to have music that has, that trace where you can tell it's from Kenya, whether it's in terms of taking rhythms or using popular music like Benga music or something like that, for example, or via the language using different local languages or Swahili. Versus, as an artist being free to create whatever you like, and because you're Kenyan, it's Kenyan music. So I feel like that's one of the main dichotomies of this debate, like how much do you have to really tailor your sound to make it Kenyan, or is it Kenyan just because you are Kenyan? And I feel like everyone has their opinion on this. And in terms of exports, me, I'm of the opinion, as an artist, make whatever you like, but don't try to make yourself like, if you love, for example, you want to make music like Beyonce, Beyonce is always going to be the greatest Beyonce. So don't try to sound like someone else, because you're never going to win at that game. You're always going to come at least in second place. So I think the main thing is to be yourself, draw from the influences that speak to you, and create good music. And yeah, also another important thing, creatives are always very focused on the music and the creativity and the process, but there is another side to this, which is the business side, which is marketing, having a strong rollout plan, being able to get press and things, because that can also really help to push artists outside of Kenya. If you can get some international publications, maybe a strategic collaboration with artists from other countries, and just having like a very strong rollout plan and being able to target the correct markets. Because also you don't want to be like, oh, I want to be outside Kenya, so you target everywhere. But it's better if you're strategic. So if you want to go outside of Kenya, what makes sense? Like if your music is in Swahili, it's an obvious thing. First, you should look maybe at Tanzania, at Rwanda, at Congo, places where people will easily understand your music. And also in terms of, the genres and stuff, like even because personally I listen to a lot of music, I don't understand a word they're saying. I listen to music in languages from all over the world. So it's not only that, but if you have a sound that has, I don't know, like a groove and a flow to it that someone can connect to, because there are many playlists that you could position yourself in just based on the musicality alone without even knowing the lyrics or the meaning behind the song, but it fits in terms of the sound. So I feel like, for Kenyan artists to want to push outside, the best thing is to do what feels right, what comes to you, and you'll know what the right thing to do, and just work hard at creating the best music possible, having a team that can support you to put together these other business sides of the marketing and the PR, and looking for opportunities for you, and then the dream works.
Yeah, so you were in 2021 admitted to the International Music Business School.
Yes.
Yeah, pursuing your master's in music business innovation.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so there's actual expertise backing your passion.
Yes, and I'm actually just about to graduate. I submitted my final paper last week. So the school is in Barcelona. It's a really amazing school and program. It's somewhat new, but it's what I really like about it is the program has you interact with professionals from the music industry. So in all of the classes you're taking, you have guest speakers who are at the management levels in the major record labels, in the different DSPs like the Spotifys and YouTubes and all of those. Talk to different artist managers, different, like all types of PR people, like everyone who has different roles in the industry. So you get to hear from them firsthand, not only like in the theory, this is how it works, but this is actually someone's day-to-day work life and how it works. And as well, it's really great because you get to build your network. Like so many of them now, we have added each other on LinkedIn, and it's one of the strongest things in this industry is to have a strong network of people. Like if you think of an idea, who is the person who can make this happen? So I feel like the school has been so beneficial in that way, and it's been a great experience. I've done it all online, which has been a whole nother, I feel like everyone has gotten so much opportunities through this pandemic, because so many things that we didn't really have as much of an easy chance to get involved with. When they moved online, it really levels the playing field, especially like if you're Kenyan and you wanted to study in Spain. We all know there is a lot of discrimination through the visa process and all of that. So this is a way that it's democratizing these things. Like there's no like, oh, you couldn't get a visa because of your passport. You're not discriminated against as much. Everyone can just log on to Zoom as long as you have access to internet.
Yeah. So one of your artists was featured during the third cohort of Perform Music Incubator, which kind of speaks to Kipepeo Agency's reach, because the Perform Music Incubator is a really sought after platform. So I'd like us to talk about how that was and what other like brands you have worked with in Kenya to push this Kenyan artist.
Yes. So the Perform Music Incubator, for those listening in, it's a platform started by Musoni Drummer Queen. There have been 3 cohorts of the incubator so far. And it's a 10-week program where you attend classes from different professionals in the industry, and and they have spots for artists, managers, producers, event managers, publicists, and sound engineers. So yeah, different roles. You apply via the role you play in the industry. So what actually happened was I applied to be involved as a manager, and I was accepted. So yeah, I was in the cohort last year, in the third cohort. And that is actually where I met Groovy Joe. Like when you get in the incubator program, they put you in different teams. So we had, I think there were 5 different teams. So yeah, there were 5 artists, and then they build a team around each artist. So each artist has a manager, all those roles I told you that they work with. So yeah, we actually met in Perform, and it was nice because it was a period to get to know each other. And when you're working with artists, it's always nice to have. It's kind of like an artist manager relationship is a lot like dating. You have to get to know each other first. You need to build trust. You need to be able to communicate well. So this experience in Perform gave me and Groovy that time to first get to know each other and then decide, is this something that we actually want to work together outside of the program, or it's just a nice space to try it out. And of course go through the. Like we had David Muriti was one of the head teachers. MDQ came in for some classes. We were working with who else? There were a lot of people actually. We were working and then at the end you have a showcase that they produce. You film it, and then they release them. They're all on the YouTube channel. If anyone is interested to check them out, you can go to Perform Music Incubator YouTube channel. And recently they've also started a podcast as well.
Yeah.
So lots of good information there. Yes. Other partnerships we have done in Kenya. I think right now, in terms of what I've been doing to build the artists, a lot is building our team within the agency, because I started it as myself, but I really believe in the power of teams and being able to work together to get things done, because no one holds all of the skills that are needed, to make miracles happen. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and it's best to you focus on the things you're good at, and then you find people to work with you to cover areas where, maybe you need a little bit extra help. So in terms of the team, now we have Punk, who is our finance lead. They've been taking care of all of those things like the invoicing, helping create budgets for things. We have Alfayo, which you guys know him. He's our PR lead, so talking with people like you to get interviews and press for our artists. We have Jackie, who has joined recently as a booking agent in Kenya, because as we get more artists on board, we need more people to keep chasing to make sure we're getting good gigs and opportunities for the artists. And yeah, recently we have also had Sally join, and she is helping us some more with the marketing and the admin, and just making sure all the internal things are properly organized and we're keeping on point as an organization. So yeah, we have all of that. And then I guess some of the other partnerships we have is we have venues that we are friendly with, and they trust the type of artists that we work with. So for example, we work a lot with Usani. If you know Sam Achola, he has a great platform for artists, which is focused on creating a way for artists to receive money from their fans, as well as having different shows for Usani shows. And he's been recently doing on Wednesdays at Nairobi Street Kitchen. We've done a lot of bookings at Gecko Cafe, some at Palette Cafe. Yeah, so a lot of the times in this industry, it's about having good relationships with people and also maintaining those relationships. Even if one of my artists is playing at those venues, sometimes I go to see other artists there, or just to have a meal there, just to appreciate that they respect the creative industry, and be thankful that there are people out there who really care about artists.
Yeah. So I read somewhere a statement that you released for Kipepeo Agency, saying that Kipepeo Agency is strictly anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-homophobic, anti-xenophobic, and anti-ableist. So these are conversations that have come up a lot since the the period of COVID.
Mm.
I'd like to know, do you sometimes get a bit of backlash? Because you have a couple of, do we say disruptive? Because I think I really love Bakita's aura, and how they live in their own, and how unapologetically themselves they are. So I want to ask, have you guys received a bit of flack, possibly not you directly, but the artists under you, and how have you handled that?
Okay, of course, there's some spaces which are not as friendly, especially to working with queer artists, or maybe not the safest spaces for women. And in Antidote, there was a venue in Nairobi one time. I have another event I do with another DJ, so we were planning to do one in Nairobi, and there was a venue we were going to. And unfortunately, there was an incident where the owner of this venue tried to sexually assault a friend of mine there. So yeah, we are very strictly against that. So we moved the event to another space. So yeah, in cases like this, we've also had cases of someone wanting to book an artist, and then we find out some things about, like, maybe they're too apologetic about rape, things like that. We've actually canceled bookings because of issues like this in the past.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think we've been quite fortunate. Like, we don't get a lot of very public backlash against our artists or our company with this stance. But I think it's also because we create an atmosphere where we're very open and upfront about this is what we do, this is what we stand for, and we don't we have like zero tolerance if you are going to bring in any sexual harassment or homophobia, things like that. So I think, of course, me as a white person, I have some privilege when I talk to people and I say, yo, we're not for that. And I'm very aware of that, but it's something that I feel like, we have to stand up for these things. And, sometimes even if the money is there, it's not worth it if it comes from a bad place. So yeah, we're okay canceling things if someone doesn't fall in line with our values.
Okay, that is really cool.
That's so dope. So probably there's a listener who doesn't know the difference between a record label and an artist management agency. Would you kindly differentiate between the two of them?
Yes, for sure. So a record label is a company where usually they will sign an artist for a period of time or a number of projects to be released under their label. So usually this entails if you are a good artist or the label is doing well, they might give you an advance, which means they give you money up front, which they will recuperate, meaning as you earn money off of the music you release, they will take that money back from your record deals. So it could be a closed deal where you're not allowed to release any music outside of that record label. It could be a deal for some people just get for one project or maybe two. Yeah. I don't know if you've been following. There has been between Megan Thee Stallion and her record label about her recent release. Yeah. If it counts as an album because she wants to get out of her deal. Yeah. So it really depends. What I would say is if you're getting into a record deal, definitely make sure you have a good entertainment lawyer. Read that contract, because there are certain things they can sneak in there that could really screw you over if you don't know what you're signing. Now, so basically the record deal is about getting out your recorded music. They usually cover the cost to record the music, to mix and master it. Usually they can do some music video costs and marketing costs for you. And yeah. Then a management company, what we do is we look at your career from a holistic perspective, not only the recorded music. We're looking at the recorded music, we're looking at the publishing, which is your songwriting. We're looking at your live performance. We're looking at your artistic brand and different business opportunities for you as an artistic brand, as an artist. So this entails building a strategy for you, being able to consult on your brand and your image, being able to work on your behalf and find opportunities like attending events and finding out about whatever, if it's a new grant, if it's a new launch of a product, if it's a new someone is coming into the market that we need to know about and connect with. For us, we also do bookings, though not all management agencies do, which is booking you to perform at gigs or booking you for appearances at things like that. And we also have, for us, we are offering distribution services, which, management agencies can all offer different things. So it's about knowing what you're looking for. So for distribution, it's a bit similar to the record deal, but it comes with less. It's not exclusive. Yeah. So we have a deal with distribution called The Orchard, which is under Sony Music. Which basically allows us to have access to that network of a global company like Sony and the power they have in terms of their relationship with the streaming platforms to push for playlisting and marketing from them, like the Apples and Spotifys and Boomplays and whatnot. But we don't have any obligation to deliver a certain amount of albums. If we want to distribute our music somewhere else, it's okay. We have the option, but we're not obliged to use that platform for distribution. And we also have some different business partnerships, like we're working with Song Trust for publishing administration to help collect the royalties for our artists. Right now, we're possibly getting into another partnership in terms of helping to get more brand engagement, like getting sponsorship from, the different companies, whether it's beverage or insurance or different products, things like that. And the other thing we're working on now is to secure a sync agent, which is someone who can be synced in different films, TV, advertisements, video games, whatever, like a visual medium with your music synced along to it. So, these are areas that management agencies can all work in. Some management agencies also go more into developing content for you if you need help with managing your social media, things like that. It's really, actually, this is what I wrote my final paper for my school on. Is all managers offer different services, so it's really important for the artist to understand what exactly you need support with. If you're doing great with socials, you probably don't need to find someone who also does socials. But if you are having problem with bookings, you should find a management that also does bookings, or could find you a different booking agent to work with. So, it's both of them, record labels, management. They vary in terms of the type of deals they can offer you. And like I said, even with management, every artist I approach or they approach me to work, I always give them a contract and also advise them, if you can have a lawyer look it over as well, just because it's good for you to have a clear understanding of what you're signing.
Yeah, okay. So I want to ask you, you are a manager who basically based on what you've said, you offer your artists a lot of services. So I want to ask, how do you basically you coordinating with a record label? So there's times you have signed artists, there's times you probably have unsigned artists. So I want to ask, are there times where you have to be the go-between for you and your artist, and are you in positions where you have to negotiate a deal for you with for the artist with the record label?
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the main things. The manager is a lot of times in the artists and other parties. That's basically where we are positioned. So we are the one who we are there for two reasons. One is in terms of deals and whatnot, but also protecting them emotionally, because artists can be very sensitive people, and sometimes they need someone to kind of be a little bit of a barrier and protection between them and the other parties. And we definitely make negotiations if a record label is interested in signing one of my artists. We don't right now. None of our artists are signed to labels. Some of them run their own labels. But we have done work like releases, maybe like a 1 or 2 release with a label, that kind of situation, not like a long-term deal. But anytime we get any type of contract, paperwork, split sheets. That's also another really important one. Like maybe if you're just doing one song with a label or with another artist, to have a split sheet and making sure that it's properly filled out of who owns what parts of the song and what. Yes. So yeah, we're always reading those contracts, asking my lawyer for advice when it's a bit of a complex one, and being able to negotiate terms, like terms in terms of like how much ownership my artist deserves, terms in terms of their image rights, in terms of if they're getting in advance, how much is it, things like that. Yeah.
Speaking of image, have you dealt with a client or an artist who has signed a 360 and was trying to get out of that? Because I'm still trying to find somebody who was able to successfully get out of that without getting banned.
To get that out of what?
Of the 360 deal, the one where they own your image rights, your intellectual property, everything.
Yeah, I mean 360 deals. There can be. It all depends on the terms, to be honest, because you can have a 360 deal because 360 deal basically means they're going to take care of all areas of your career. Even in artist management, there can be 360 deals. But you can have a 360 deal where they do not own your image and things. It's all in the legal writing. That's why it's very important to have a good lawyer. And anyone who is listening who's looking for a great IP lawyer in Kenya, I highly recommend Art Law Kenya. That is who we use. Our lawyer is Immaculate Juma. Check them out. Really amazing and reasonable rates, like not exorbitant at all. So yeah, because the image rights, even in our contract, there is a thing about we're allowed to use our artist's image. But it is saying for the duration of this engagement, anything that happens in the duration of this engagement, we're allowed to use the image. And the work that has been done during this contract engagement, we're allowed to keep it up. But we're not allowed to post you again after if we end the contract. So, yeah, it's really about, that's why you have to read those contracts carefully. There are some like phrases that you would never want to include in your contract. One that in one of my classes they told us is about, if something says in perpetuity, that means forever. So if they say they have your image right in perpetuity, just tell them, no, we have to change this, because there's no way you want to give away your rights forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Mata's qualities. And I want to ask you, what are some of the qualities that you as Kipepeo Agency look for to manage an artist?
Yes. So personally, I did a bachelor's in performing arts and social justice.
Yeah.
I studied theater, but I was always involved in music as well, in choir. I grew up playing flute. So yeah, for me, I come from this realm of art is not only to entertain people, but art is also
we seem to be
able to
you.
connect. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can now. We can hear you.
So yeah, I was saying, because of my background in performing arts and social justice, I really am keen on artists who use their art to be able to change people's mindsets, to create empathy, to create community, to talk about issues in society that are maybe a bit taboo or challenging. Artists who are really open to experimenting and trying new ways to create their art. So yeah, we like artists who have stories to tell, who are open to trying new things. And yeah, there's a lot of elements that come into play when you're trying to figure out if this is someone who would be a good, it's like I said, it's like you have a relationship with the artist. So it's about the music. It's about the personality. Like, there are artists who I can love the music, but because their personalities are completely different and they clash, it wouldn't be a good, even if I love their music with every single ounce of my being, if we can't match on the personality, it's going to make the work very challenging. Of course, work ethic is really important, because you want someone who is passionate and creative, but some of the things you need to do at the end of the day, not everything is going to be great. I can just go to studio and I can go on stage and that's it. There are other things you have to do. Of course, we try to take as much of that business side into our hands, but there are things that the artist has to do themselves. So I would say like music, personality, work ethic, the passion and the drive and the want is also there. And just like artists who are unique, who are creating things that I haven't seen before, who are putting different things together that you didn't think that was gonna work as a combination. Artists who can express in different ways, like Bakita being able to do music, they do visual art, they do set design, they do styling. I find a lot of the artists that we work with tend to be multi-talented like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanna
like full-on creatives.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
okay. So
all right, it's okay.
At that time,
Yes.
because you have Kenyan artists under your agency, but then you are not exactly in Kenya. So is there a time when, so this is before you had a team, before you had assembled a team, were there times when the distance would create a bit of friction between your relationship with the artist?
Yes, it has happened. I come to Kenya about 2 to 3 times every year, spending a different amount of time. Like last year when I was there and perform, I was there for 3 months at a time. In 2020, I was there for like 7 months in lockdown. It depends on my schedule because I have to balance. So, I have artists in Kenya, and I also, like right now, I have 2 acts which I'm working with in Uganda as well. It can, especially one of the issues that became a bit challenging was being able to get enough bookings when you're not on the ground, because I was getting some, but if it depends. Like some artists are like, I only want to perform once a month, or not even that. Some of them are like, I really need to get 3 gigs a week because this is my only source of income. So it depends on the artist and their expectations as well. This is another thing that's very important in the artist-manager relationship, is being able to clearly say what your expectations are, and like as a manager being able to maintain that, as an artist being able to make sure, if I'm asking this and this of my manager, I'm also doing the things they ask of me. It's a lot of balancing the sides. Everyone has to put an effort. It shouldn't be like, I'm your manager, but I care more about your career and your business than you care about it, because at the end of the day, it's your brand. Maybe you're not interested in doing some of these nitty-gritty business things, but you should be able to be on top of it and at least have an understanding of the process we're going through and things like that. But yeah, like the issue about bookings, the solution was to, we should just have another booking agent who's there in Kenya.
Yeah.
And I think, I like to think not so much of like a grudges or dwelling on things that went wrong mindset. I really have a forward-looking mindset and looking for solutions. Like if something goes wrong this time, what solution can we implement to make sure that we're improving and it doesn't happen again? Because we cannot change the past. It's only going to make us feel bad about ourselves, and that's not the move. If you're feeling bad about yourself, you're not going to be able to work well. So the best thing is to have a deep reflection and understand and find what the solution is. Yeah.
So now that you've assembled a bigger team, what's next for Kipepeo Agency? What bigger mountains are you trying to conquer now?
Right now, some of the mountains we're trying to conquer, of course, there is a lot of financial. Finances is always and it hasn't been helped because of the pandemic and now this war with Ukraine and the economy and all of this. So yeah, that is one which we're trying to overcome. Luckily, we're a registered company and we have been taking more serious applying for grants, because we've been always applying for grants for artists, but now we're at the point applying for grants for ourselves as a company. In July, actually 2 times this year I've done workshops with the French embassy in Uganda, one about music copyright, and then just in July we did a workshop of arts for advocacy where they're doing a whole program with different feminist organizations, and we did a workshop connecting them with artists and how they can work with artists to do these campaigns to bring awareness about gender-based violence and sexual reproductive health and gender and climate change. So we had workshops like talking about the different ways you can have artists as brand ambassadors, you can have them perform at events, you can commission a new work or license a work to use in your campaigns. And then the last day we had a speed networking with 12 different artists who came in to meet with the organizations and know about the plans they have and how the artists can get involved. So yeah, we're trying to do some more things like that, workshops, applying for grants, to bring in more money. Like I mentioned before, we're building more strategic partnerships, especially like business to business partnerships of people who provide the services we need for our clients. Whether like I've said, we already have the distribution and the publishing. Now we're working in trying to get a good partnership for sync for our artists, as well as getting brand endorsements with a different agency with our artists. So yeah, that is where we're at now. Of course, more artists want to join. There is one we're in the process now of signing. Actually, two we're in the process now of possibly onboarding very soon. Yeah, and just trying to always do things better. Whether it's like now we are working, an artist I'm working with in Uganda, Susan Karanin. We're doing a concert later this year. Kuyu is going to be having another live recording experience, which will be in November in Nairobi. So everyone be on the lookout. Coming. And yeah, so just like doing the events well. Hopefully we'll have some European tour next year for some of the artists in the summer. Yeah, it's I don't know. The possibilities are really endless. I think it's just about having the eyes open and following your sense of intuition of like what's the right move. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.
So I feel like you should. It will only be prudent for us to let you tell the listeners where they can find you, find Kipepeo Agency, what websites they should look at, your socials, all that.
Well, I'm very happy we have like just revamped and updated our website thanks to Sally who joined. So you can find us at www.kipepeoagency.com. Like most of the information is there. On socials, we're at Kipepeo Agency on everything, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. My socials have different accounts. On Instagram, I am Maya. Maya is spelled Maija. I bet if you type that, you'll find me alone, but it's Maya Miha Meow. On Twitter, I am Maya Dungu. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. And or if you go on the Kipepeo page, you'll find me easily as well.
Okay, so it is exactly 6 minutes to 7, you guys. I want to play you a track by probably one of my favorite artists from Kipepeo Agency. I don't know. I am very stuck between this artist and Groovy and Koyo. It's just good people under Kipepeo Agency. So this is Anxiety's Bitch by Bakita.
Yes!
Oh, yeah. I have never been to Mars, but I imagine that it's intergalactical. Might leave some static. Oh, why can't I see? And I'm barely breathing. Oh, I think I've had it with tightrope centerpieces. I need to get up out the shits and hope it a business. Need you to get off my dick so I can think. It's this feeling again, and I don't know. It's got me hating the world, feeling so low, but they don't understand the grip 'cause it's so strong. Wish I was so low, but I'm here. Anxiety's bitch. Ooh, a new trick. Feeling too chicken, too big, clucking up my juice. But don't get me wrong, 'cause I'm not trying to tie a noose. I'm just flirting with gold. slip into deeper dissociative store. But she's keeping score, still asking for more, and I don't know how much I could give or endorse this feeling again. And I don't know, it's got me hating the world, feeling so low, cause they don't understand the gripping and so strong. Wish I was solo, but I'm here. Anxiety's bitch. Ooh, I know it's trick. Ooh, can they see me running, hoping to get by without touching base or letting people be